Warning: this video contains talk of suicide, self-harm, trauma, sexual assault, alcoholism, bullying, transphobia, rape, violence, and death. Viewer discretion is advised. Please feel free to sit this one out at any time. The plot. This is a weird anime, I'll admit. Some may be thinking that all anime is weird, but this one, a bright color palette contrasted with a focus on trauma, suicide, alcoholism, and more. The main character is Ai Oto, a girl who suffers with bullying due to her heterochromia, having one brown eye and one blue eye. Her best friend, Goito, commits suicide after being rumored to be in a relationship with art teacher Awakawa. Although this is not explicitly confirmed, it is a subject that is pored over by Ai throughout the course of the story, as she processes her friend's death. Throughout the story, we also meet 3 other girls who have lost loved ones to suicide. The first person that Ai meets is Neru, whose sister killed herself. The next person we meet is Rika, who used to be a junior idol. Her loved one is somewhat unexpected, a fan. Then we meet Momoe, or Momo, whose loved one is someone who loved her for herself. More on all this a bit later. So, other than the fact that these girls are all people who have lost a loved one to suicide, what else do they have in common? How do they meet? In their grieving, they are led to a sort of underground arcade, but the main feature of the place is a gachapon machine. This one doesn't dispense gumballs or phone charms, however. This machine gives you eggs. Yeah, it's weird. What did I tell you? But why eggs? What's the deal with that? Well, when these eggs are cracked in a dream world, they hatch people. Yes, the show calls them all girls, but I will get into later why I don't follow that language. Anyways, people? There's gotta be something up with that. And there is. These egg people have all experienced some type of trauma and subsequently committed suicide. The 4 main girls fight off monsters and what are called wonder killers. Basically, a mini-boss that's the cause of the egg person's trauma. Why are the girls fighting for these egg people? The girls have been promised that if they help enough egg people, the girl's loved one that they lost to suicide will be brought back to life. Buy an egg, crack an egg, sort through the egg person's trauma that usually also relates to the main character, rinse, repeat. Seems simple, right? Well, sorta. When I say that Wonder Egg Priority covers trauma, I really mean it. That warning at the beginning of the video was for a good reason. It gets intense. Trauma. Ai Oto. We, as an audience, are with Ai from the second that the show starts. This means we are privy to Ai's trauma the most. We learn within the first episode that she shuts herself away because of the bullying and the guilt she has surrounding Koyoto's suicide. It is only as the show progresses that we learn how these traumas that Ai hold intersect. Because of the bullying that Ai endured due to her heterochromia, Koito is her only friend. Ai's experience with bullying made it harder to speak out against it when Koito experienced bullying due to the rumors of a relationship with the art teacher. Instead, Ai hid away, avoiding becoming more involved. So both Koito and Ai seem to continue feeling alone, despite having one another. This culminated in Koito's suicide. This layered trauma is what Ai works through over the course of the show. Ai fights with one of those multicolored pens that you might find in middle school. This was given to her by one of the egg people. Through helping egg people through their own bullying and trauma, and through forming her own strong friendships, Ai works to heal her trauma. Healing isn't linear, and it takes a lot of time to form deep relationships, especially trusting ones, which is a common source of fear and uncertainty for Ai. I believe it helps having this common bonding thread of loss among her new friends. It's something that requires people, a lot of care, time, and trust. Neru Aonuma. Neru is only introduced in the second episode of Wonder Egg Priority. Despite Ai becoming close to Neru in the beginning of the show, I feel she becomes more distant as the show goes on. We are privy to a little bit of her trauma in the beginning, as we learn that Neru is there for her late sister. Now, if you've seen Wonder Egg Priority, you know that this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Neru and what she has been through. Neru fights with what appears to be a compass, which transforms into a sort of sniper rifle, unlike the other weapons which seem to just grow and become kind of like swords. This one is pretty different. Although I think Nehru, along with the other girls, does work through her trauma throughout the show, I think she becomes a really good example of trauma being layered in different experiences during her life, making healing quite a complex journey. Now, she is a weird case, as she's not quite human. Please, before you comment, having watched half the show, watch the whole thing. It does get revealed in the last episode, so spoilers there, I guess. Living on her own has enabled her to be super self-reliant. Although she did let her friends come to her home, Nehru was still secretive and cautious, well, around her secrets and her trauma. She does grow distant in the last part of the series. Rika Kawai. From her first appearance, Rika is outwardly energetic and full of herself, but along with that, it's also seen in that first appearance that Rika struggles with her self-image and self-harms. This makes it that much more heartbreaking to see that the weapon she fights with in the egg world is a box cutter, a popular tool for self-harm. Like the other girls, home isn't quite the respite it should be. Rika's mother is shown to be an alcoholic, and this has a large effect on Rika's home life, living above the bar. Rika is also unable to rely on her father, who isn't in the picture, and who Rika doesn't know a lot about. Her mother rarely gives out new information about her father, much to Rika's frustration. Rika suffers often with her self-harming tendencies and suicidal thoughts, despite outward appearances of being outgoing and uncaring. This is something that is dealt with a lot throughout the show. Momoe Sawaki. Momoe is the last one we meet from the main cast. I feel that we met her rather late, with her first appearance being in the 4th episode. To put it simply, Momoe's trauma comes from sexual assault. Even in her first episode, Momoe is mistaken for a man. While this could be a coping mechanism as some people change or hyper-focus on their appearance, I think this is more a connecting point and a huge part of her arc. It also foreshadows events coming up in the egg world, though it does also fuel a theory that I'll talk about more later. Momoe does wield a sort of spear-like weapon. It might be an umbrella because she does use it as a sort of shield in some scenes, but it's kind of unclear. The Accas. Now, although they aren't main characters, there is a pair of men who are integral to the story. They are the ones who invent and give out the eggs and the pendant pets. They are also connected to the girls as mentors, and more than that, they're behind the eggs, and it could be argued that they're behind the egg world, given how they make the egg world so accessible. Acca and Ura Acca are mannequins, or dummies, that are sentient and have these two men's consciousnesses in them, one in each dummy. They are, I would say, pretty morally gray. You could argue that they're just morally dark, but I'm gonna argue morally gray based on some circumstances. They want to help the young girls, but they're also harming them along the way. The pendant pets are a clear example of this. The Accas are behind everything to do with the eggs, all in the name of research. Their pasts, explored in later episodes, is why I call them gray. Not mostly good or mostly bad, except for the pendant pets or something like that. The Accas have their own experiences with love, heartbreak, and suicide, which prompted this research. The eggs. Their deceit is clear, lying through omission about the girls' missions. They call the eggs a game, which is something they seem kind of obsessed with. Games. The egg game, a Famicom game is at one point seen, and more often, which I'll explore later, the game of Go. Now that's a little exploration into the Accas, and I'll get to them a bit more later. About the eggs, the good. The gachapon machines, ultimately the eggs, do a lot to bring the four girls together. Within the eggs are people in similar situations, which helps Nehru, Rika, and Momoe work through their trauma. Through working through similar situations, trauma can be processed a bit easier. Throughout the series, it's obvious that all of the girls overthink and relive their trauma, which is common. By helping the people within the eggs, it assists them in working on their trauma. The eggs also bring the 4 girls closer together, and they build an unexpected friendship and supportive bond. Together, they work to bring one another out of their shells and work towards healing. A support network is important, especially because the girls were on their own, a lot, without many friends. It can be said that pets are, or can be, an integral part of a support network. A pet can provide a lot of emotional support. The girls' pendant animals, or as I like to call them, pendant pets, are a great example of how animals provide a lot of support to people, such as their owners. Although animals are unable to speak to us, they can still provide a way to unload our troubles and provide comfort as a companion. It could even be argued that the pendants were more than a companion, due to their also being a pendant, which was worn on one's person. The animal pendants extend an additional level of support, regardless. About the eggs. The bad. While the eggs did bring a lot of good into the girls' lives, they also led to some negative and even more traumatizing experiences. Unfortunately, the pendant animals are the cause of a lot of additional trauma at the end of the show. It's actually really messed up what happens here. I don't know how detailed I can be here on YouTube, but here's a trigger warning for animal abuse and death. The pendant animals are killed when the girls finish helping their final egg person, and they are prompted to eat their pet animals. This is disgusting, disturbing, and terrifying. It's obvious how much of an effect this has. Honestly, it hurts me to think about. It's not the pendant animal's fault, of course, that this is so traumatizing. But the animal does have a part in the terrible, traumatic events which the girls experience. And ultimately, the Accas do as well. I'll get to them in a moment. The egg people are all from parallel universes, and these people are all examples of how much trauma changes people. Of course, the main characters are great examples of this as well, especially in the later episodes of the series. The egg people are so changed by their trauma that they seek a permanent out to their situation. However, with the main four's help, the egg people do find help and change the situation that before felt unwinnable. Trauma changes people, but so can finding help. Sometimes, however, support won't always help. As Nehru's story arc shows, healing isn't always the linear journey it's made out to be. Even if you resolve a troubling situation, surrounded by those who love, care about, and support you, sometimes the past can still be too much. Trauma doesn't necessarily stop being painful. Now, that's a lot of dark stuff to talk about. Let's move on to some theories. The trans girl Momoe theory. To start off, let's dive into the popular fan theory. Momoe is a trans woman. Now, nothing I've seen in the text, or at least the show, explicitly says this. A lot of Momoe's character arc and anxiety is centered around her identity as a woman. She is often mistaken for a boy, like in episode 4, with the woman's train car egg. And in the Japanese audio of the anime, she uses both masculine and feminine words to refer to herself. She often presents with what I'd say is a masculine appearance, but a little androgynous. Her perceived masculinity has brought her romantic attractions from many girls in her childhood, which made Momoe uncomfortable, believing that she is deceiving them. Most of her attractions seem to be towards boys. This is confirmed more explicitly when she accepts the trans boy from the eggs' advances, aka Kaoru, and his advances. Despite Momoe initially being embarrassed and a little shy about Kaoru's advances, she does accept and kiss him. It is also with Kaoru that the hints at Momoe's trans identity become more explicit. She is seen wearing Kaoru's jacket, which has the colors of the transgender flag displayed quite prominently. I have seen people suggest also that the top or bra under Momoe's shirt has more subtle trans colors as well. Given that the way she vocally fights against Kaoru's Wonder Killer is to affirm Kaoru's identity as a boy and her own as a girl, as both are misgendered heavily, seems to indicate that Momoe may be a trans girl, or relate to the trans girl experience. This is why Momoe was given this Wonder Egg, due to her relationship with the egg person. This is honestly why a lot of the girls are given Wonder Eggs, due to their relationship with the egg person, but this one is especially clear, especially for this theory. The show goes seemingly out of its way to prove that Momoe is a girl, even beyond her just vehemently identifying as such. There's a scene where her lack of an Adam's apple is pointed out, and she tries on dresses and going on dates while wearing a dress instead of her normal, more masculine clothing. It is left ambiguous as to whether Momoe does identify as transgender explicitly, trans flag colors aside. Now, with Kaoru, we come to the reason why I call the egg people, not girls. Within the show, the Acas seemingly make it clear that only girls are able to play the game, while characters in the show try damn hard not to misgender Kaoru and rather focus on affirming his gender. This fact, by the Acas, throws a huge wrench in literally everything. I'm kind of uncertain now. Does this mean that gender assigned at birth is what counts to play the game? In that case, the constant labeling as the egg people as girls makes transphobic sense. But with the strong misgendering of Momoe throughout the series as a boy, honestly, the more I try to understand the gender message in the show, the more confused I become. Long story short, Momoe is a girl who is misgendered and mistreated as a guy. Kaoru is a guy who is misgendered and mistreated as a girl. They both bond with one another over this. It's trans, straight, but with hints of that dating a non-cis person flavor of queerness. That's the theory that is rife within the Wonder Egg priority fandom. Momoe is potentially a trans girl. Now for a wild theory that I've seen mentioned a grand total of 0 times in fandom circles from what I can see. I think that I'm the first one to come up with it, but please correct me in the comments if I am incorrect on this. I would love to see if other people have more information or more with this upcoming theory. The Acca Go Theory. This theory is very tenuous. I'll admit that. Here it is in its simplest form. Throughout the series, the Accas are seen playing Go. For those who don't know, Go is a 2-person board game centered around obtaining as much territory on the board as possible. There are 2 stone colors placed on the intersections of squares on the board. Usually those colors are black and white, although I have seen some variants before. Those are usually what is played with, black and white stones. It is a game which can be quite complex, like chess. It's very popular within countries like Japan. Now, my theory is that as the Acca's game of Go progresses, the series gets progressively darker. As the board gets more complex, so does the egg game which the girls play. Each time that information is revealed about the Accas, that changes how the girls and the audience think about them. The board resets. Just as the whole view of the Acca's situation changes and resets, so does the Goban. The Acca Go Theory of the complexities of the situation and our view of it being mirrored by Go is more than a little hard to track. Clear views of the Acca's game are very hard to come across. I tried to figure out how the board looked during multiple episodes, but with how often there are just very distant or vague shots of the board within the show, it's hard to do. These are all of the shots of the board that I could find. Now, within episode 7, the Accas do switch out Go for a Nintendo Famicom during the girls' first real outing with their pendant pets, which is all simultaneously going on for whatever reason. The plot, I guess. I'm calling this lack of go an almost neutral move, as the go-ban was also absent in the episode where the pendants were given out, as they used the table which the go-ban usually sat on for the box of pendants. Since the pendants led to both good and bad things happening regarding the girl's trauma, I'm calling this neutral. Acca, the seemingly more serious of the pair, is seen playing black, while Acca, the slightly more light-hearted of the pair, is always seen playing white. Given all that we know about this couple, and they are a couple, it is confirmed that they are or were husbands, and that Acca cheated on Acca, and it's a whole thing. But anyways, they are husbands. Now, given all we know about this couple, I don't think it's too deep, like Acca plays black because he's inherently bad, or anything like that. I just noticed this detail of one always playing one color and the other always playing the other color. Now, while the boards do remain reasonably consistent, there are subtle differences in the placements of the stones between episodes. I believe that for the purposes of this theory, the differences are minor enough, mostly to be explained away by animation shortcuts, especially because of how many side views and long-distance views of the board there are within the show. There are a lot of long-distance and side views of the board. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. Now, there is a perfectly logical argument that the Accas set up and play a new game each episode approximately. But this is a fan theory, and I've seen many popular theories in fandom spaces that get a lot of fan support with less evidence. So, no, I'm not supporting that. That theory does not live on in this space. So, yeah, that's my theory. The Acca's Go game matches the complexity of their egg game. The position of the board is seen getting more busy and complex as the action ramps up. Then, after a break for the introduction of the pendants, starts again and gets more intense and once more mirroring the action and the complexity of the latter half of the series. I have tried to play out these board positions myself, but given that the animation is obviously not focused on the positions of the board, I have no idea. I can't tell. Maybe someone who is more experienced with Go might have a better chance at recreating these games or these board positions in any case, but I can't do it. There's my theory, and I hope that other people would like to run with it within the fandom. Overall thoughts. This series was a lot to take in. The horrific events in this anime are not off-balanced by the fantasy elements of the series, as a lot of other anime seem to get away with. Instead, the pain, suffering, and trauma of teenage girls affected by suicide and trauma is the focus of Wonder Egg Priority. The show doesn't shy away from its more messed up elements, lingering on them and stacking or compounding upon these horrifying, messy story beats. I feel that Wonder Egg Priority understands that these issues are dark, difficult, and complex. The story reflects that. There's an obvious contrast between this dark subject matter and the bright, colorful palette that the show uses for its art. The characters aren't just dark, depressed goth girls. They can be emotional, quiet, deep, and also loud, bright, and loyal. It sometimes took me a few watches to really get the fantasy elements and how the eggs, egg world, and pendants all worked. I feel like that's the making of a good story. You get the basics, but your experience broadens with each watch. It's a challenging story in more than one sense of the word. All in all, I would recommend checking out Wonder Egg Priority. However, as mentioned in the original warning at the start of this video, the series covers a lot of difficult, triggering topics, and doesn't shy away from them. If you do choose to watch Wonder Egg Priority, please be aware of the headspace you are in. Take breaks, take care of yourself. There are a few episodes, namely episode 8 and the first half of episode 13, which do recap the events of the series up until that point. and they do include some more information which isn't explicitly stated in the show up to that point, like calling the larger egg monsters Wonder Killers. This isn't until episode 8's recap voiceover by the Accas that this is known. It's a good, almost reprieve from the series up until that point. Wonder Egg Priority is a great anime from the 2021 spring season, as long as you're up for it. If you have any topics about LGBTQIA+ or mental health stuff you'd like to see covered, please let me know down in the comments. As always, my resources are in the description below. Thanks for watching the OCD Enby. Stay safe out there.